Good day, everyone. Before anything else, let me ask you first, what is a bulk carrier? A bulk carrier, a bulker is a merchant ship specially designed to transport and package bulk. So, with our topic for today, which is the unloading and loading of bulk carriers, we have the reporters, which is I, Bacos Crystal May, we have Pingil, Allen, Calabroso, Carl Joven, De Monteverde, King J, and Villarubia, Christian Floyd.
Hello everyone, my name is Decadet Bingil and I'm going to tell you what is the definition of a bulk carrier. A bulk carrier is a merchant ship specially designed to transport and package bulk cargo such as grains, coal, ore, steel coils, and cement. The term bulk carrier has been defined in varying ways as of 1999. The International Convention for the Safety of Life at Sea defines a bulk carrier as a ship constructed with a single deck, topside tanks, and hopper side tanks in cargo spaces and intended to primarily carry dry cargo in bulk. Some characteristic features of a bulk carrier's hull geometry is its high coefficient of buoyancy. In other words, it has a full form, which means when compared to finer form ships like container ships or naval warships, the volume of the hull at the forward and aft section is higher in case of a bulk carrier. So here are some images of a bulk carrier. Now to give you more information about the operational suitability of a bulk carriers for loading and unloading solid bulk cargoes, I give you Mr. Deck Cadet Calabroso.
Hello everyone. Before anything else, I am Decadet Calabroso Carl Joventi. Requirements in relation to the operational suitability of bulk carriers for loading and unloading solid bulk cargoes. Terminal operators shall satisfy themselves as to the operational suitability of bulk carriers for the loading or unloading of solid bulk cargoes by checking that the bulk carriers comply with the following requirements. First, they shall be provided with cargo holds and hatch openings of sufficient size and such a design to enable the solid bulk cargo to be loaded, stowed, trimmed, and unloaded satisfactorily. Second, they shall be provided with a cargo hold hatch identification number as used in the loading or unloading plan. The location, size, and the color of this number shall be clearly to and identifiable by the operator of the terminal loading or unloading equipment. Third, their cargo hold hatches. Hatch operating system and safety devices shall be in a good functional order and used only for their intended purposes. Fourth, leads indicating lights, if fitted, shall be tested prior to loading or unloading and proved to be operational. Fifth, if required to have an approved loading instrument on board, this instrument shall be certified and operational to carry out stress calculation during loading or unloading. Sixth, propulsion and auxiliary machinery shall be in a good functional order. Seventh, deck related to mooring and berthing operation shall be operable and in a good order and condition.
Good day, everyone. This is Decadet Villarubia speaking. And in continuation for Decadet Calabroso, we also have requirements in relation to the suitability of terminals for loading and unloading solid bulk cargoes. Number one, terminals shall only accept bulk carriers for loading or unloading of solid bulk cargoes at their terminal that can safely berth alongside the loading or unloading installation, taking into consideration water depth at the berth, maximum size of the ship, mooring arrangements, fendering, safe access, and possible obstructions to loading or unloading operations. Number two, terminal loading and unloading equipment shall be properly certified and maintained in good order, in compliance with the relevant regulations and standards, and only operated by duly qualified and, if appropriate, certified personnel. Number three, terminal personnel shall be trained in all aspects of safe loading and unloading of bulk carriers commensurate with their responsibilities. The training shall be designed to provide familiarity with the general hazards of loading and unloading of solid bulk cargoes and the adverse effect of improper loading and unloading operations may have on the safety of the ship. Number four, terminal personnel involved in the loading and unloading operations shall be provided with, and use personal protective equipment and shall be duly rested to avoid accidents due to fatigue.
Part 3. Duties of the terminal representative prior to and during loading or unloading operations. Prior to the start of and during loading or unloading operations, the terminal representative shall provide the master with the names and procedures for contacting the terminal personnel or shipper's agent who will have the responsibility for the loading or unloading operation and with whom the master will have contact. Number 2. Take all precautionary measures to avoid damage to the ship by the loading or unloading equipment and inform the master if damage occurs. 3. Ensure the ship is kept upright, or if a lift is required for operational reasons, it shall be kept as small as possible. 4. Ensure the unloading of the port side closely matches that of the starboard side in the same hold to avoid twisting the ship. In the case of high-density cargoes, or when the individual grab loads are large, alert the master and there may be high localized impact loads on the ship's structure until the tank top is completely covered by cargo, especially when high free fall drops are permitted and special care is taken at the start of the loading operation in each cargo hold. Number 6. Ensure that there is agreement between the master and the terminal representative at all stages and in relation to all aspects of the loading or unloading operations, and that the master is advised on any change to the agreed loading rate. 7. Maintain a record of the weight and disposition of the cargo loaded or unloaded, and ensure that the weights in the holds do not deviate from the agreed loading or unloading plan. 8. Ensure that the cargo is trimmed when loading or unloading to the master's requirement. 9. Ensure that the quantities of cargo required to achieve the departure draft and trim shall allow for all cargoes on the terminal's conveyor system to be run off and empty on completion of a loading. For that purpose, the terminal representative shall advise the master of the normal tonnage and contained on the terminal's conveyor system and any requirements for clearing the conveyor system on completion of the loading. 10. In the case of unloading, give the master the maximum warning when it is intended to increase or to reduce the number of unloading heads used and advise the master when unloading is considered to be completed from each hold. 11. Ensure that no hot work is carried out on board or in the vicinity of the ship while the ship is alongside the berth, except with the permission of the master and in accordance with any requirements of the competent authority.
Duties of the master prior to and during loading or unloading operations. Prior to and during loading or unloading operations, the master shall ensure that 1. The loading or unloading of cargo and the discharge or intake of ballast water is under the control of the ship's officer in charge. 2. The disposition of cargo and ballast water is monitored throughout the loading or unloading process to ensure that the ship's structure is not overstressed. 3. The ship shall be kept upright, or if a lift is required for operational reasons, it shall be kept as small as possible. 4. The ship remains securely moored, taking due account of local weather conditions and forecasts. 5. Sufficient officers and crew are retained on board to attend to the adjustment of the mooring lines or for any normal or emergency situation, having regard to the need of the crew to have sufficient rest periods to avoid fatigue. 6. The terminal representative is made aware of the cargo trimming requirements, which shall be in accordance with the procedures of the IMO Code of Safe Practice for Solid Bulk Cargos last published in 2002, ISBN 9280151290. 7. The terminal representative is made aware of the requirements for harmonization between deballasting or ballasting and of cargo loading or unloading rates for his ship, and of any deviation from the deballasting or ballasting plan or any other matter which may affect cargo loading or unloading.
In continuation of the duties of the master prior to loading and unloading operation, number 8, the ballast water is discharged at rates which conform to the agreed loading plans and does not result in flooding of the adjacent craft, where it is not practical for the ship to completely discharge its ballast water prior to the trimming stage in the loading process. He agrees with the terminal representative on the time at which loading may need to be suspended and the duration of such suspensions. Number 9. There is agreement with the terminal representative as to the actions to be taken in the event of the rain or other change in the weather when the nature of the cargo would pose a hazard in the event of such a change. Then number 10. No hot work is carried out on board or in the vicinity of the ship while the ship is alongside the berth, except with the permission of the terminal representative and in accordance with any requirements of the competent authority. And number 11. Close supervision of the loading or unloading operation and of the ship during final stages of the loading or unloading. Number 12. The terminal representative is warned immediately if the loading or unloading process has caused damage, has created a hazardous situation, or is likely to do so. Number 13. The terminal representative is advised when final trimming of the ship has to commence in order to allow for the conveyor system to run off. Number 14. The unloading of the port side closely matches that of the starboard side is the same hold to avoid twisting the ship's structure. And lastly, number 15. When ballasting one or more holds, account is taken of the possibility of the discharge of flammable vapors from the holds, of precautions are taken before any hot worker is permitted adjacent or to above these holds.